if you are in a situation where you need to move, number one, there are certain places that will still give you a place if your credit score is a 620, or you may have to put more down on the deposit. So what I would do, since you know that you owe, number one, there are companies that will allow you to come in. You just would have to pay more of a deposit. The other option is to try and see if you can rent from the owners instead of going through a property management company. Because if you rent from an owner, a lot of times they will take a little bit more grace from that option. But a third thing that I would definitely recommend that you do is pull your report to find out which company has your information for your record as far as the rental, because you're saying it's on your credit. So is it on your credit as a collections, or is it on your credit as an eviction? Because there's a difference. Hello?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries.
I actually do not know. The only reason I know that it was on my credit is because I was looking for some help. I like, debt management help.
Mm-hmm.
And when they pull up my credit, it was in there. But I don't know how to. It seemed like there's like, the credit report, and there's like, the rental
Mm-hmm.
uh reports. I think
Mm-hmm.
that's the name. I don't know
Mm-hmm.
where to find that one.
Okay, what I can do is I can put a link. I can try and create a PDF and put it under the resource tag so that you can pull it, and it will have all of the secondary agencies that houses your information. That way you can pull your report from them, and you can search specifically for the ones that handle rental, so you can see what information they have, if they have it under rental or if they just have it under collections. Because if it's coded under collections, that may not stop you from getting into an apartment complex. But if it's
Gotcha.
coded under rental, then like you owe that rental collector, then you may have to find out which properties around your area will still allow you to do it. Like for instance, I live in Texas, and there's a company by the name of JWC. They will still
Same
rent
too.
to you. Okay, so if you live in Texas, I don't know, do you live in the Killeen area, or
Um, well, I actually planning. Are you talking about the Collin County?
no? So like depending on what city you're in, so like Houston, they have different property management companies that you can go to, and you can call them and actually ask them like, hey, I had a situation where I wasn't working. I'm gainfully employed now. I can show proof of my payment of my, of my earnings.
Uh-huh.
Um, would you guys still accept me if I have a broken lease? So you're going to clearly specify it, not as a not as an eviction, but as a broken lease,
Broken list.
right?
Okay. Yeah.
Correct. And then find out, and you don't even have to tell them your situation. Just say, hey, I'm calling around
Mm-hmm.
to see if you guys accept broken leases or if you accept evictions. That way you can know up front before you apply and waste your coins.
Gotcha.
JWC is a company that does it. However, they do charge a little bit more in rent just because of the fact that they do take some high risk individuals. So sometimes your rent may not be higher, but your deposit may be. So they may
Okay.
turn around and say where they normally would want, like, let's say $1,000, they may say, okay, now we want 2,000 for you to get this spot, and
Gotcha.
then still give it to you. So what you have to do is two layers of research. Number one, find out what's on the report, if it's under collections or rental. And then number two would be to then call around and find out which locations will still take you if you have a broken lease. And then number three, your third option would be look for properties that might be by owners instead of by a property management, because they may have a little bit more breathing room. And not for nothing, if you know a realtor, you can tell them what's going on in your situation, and they may also be able to get you, because some realtors do also help you with getting rental property.
Gotcha. Okay then.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Hope
Yeah.
that's helpful. Circle back and let me know how it works out. Congratulations on both the win for the job
And
and the
thank
new
you.
bundle that's coming in.
Thank you so much.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Any other questions, guys? We are almost at
We
10
have one.
after.
You have one in the chat. From Steve.
All right. What's the question in the chat? I'm sorry, I can't see because
it's not in the chat. He just said he has a question.
What questions you got, Steve? What's up, boo?
Oh, hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, my love.
All right, I'm gonna go down.
Oh, and Sharon, I'm sorry.
There you go. There you go. Okay. Hello, Megan. My name is Steve. I'm new to this stuff. I'm still having trouble navigating my way around and all that stuff. I've been talking to Michelle, and she's been helping me. I have a couple of questions. One is I have a loan and credit card debt. Do you suggest that I consolidate that stuff, or what do you think I should do in my situation? It's about $15,000. Hello?
Sorry, I was muted. Sorry, my bad. Well, Raquel, do you want to take this? I'm going over to me and Lancina are going to go into a breakout room real fast.
Oh, okay.
Is it who am I speaking with?
No problem.
Is Raquel.
So hi, I'm Raquel. I am the credit coach as well in the group. So that is a great question, Steve. I can't answer that blanketly because I don't know your whole situation. So what I would, and a lot of people come in and it has to, credit is a case by case situation. So I would have to ask more questions to be able to tell you if the right road or the wrong road to go. So the first question that I would have to ask is, you're saying that you have $15,000 in debt. Are these a mixture between loans and credit cards?
The audio is messing up. I can't hear anything. They're saying the audio is messing up.
Oh, that's tough.
Sound like you're underwater.
Yeah, it sounds like you're underwater. That's correct.
How you gone?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I sound like, okay, sounds like I'm underwater. Okay, hang on 1 second, guys. Let me switch out my, okay, hold on 1 second, guys. You get, hello, can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello? Okay, can you guys hear me clearly right now?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's good.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. Thank you. So the question that I had was, I was stating that I can't blanketly answer that question because I don't know, number one, the income that's coming in, plus the amounts that you have to pay out. But to get an idea of your current situation, my question is it loans and credit card debt, or what type of debt are you stating that you're in currently?
Yes, it's a loan from my it's a loan from my what do you call it? The credit union.
Okay.
And I have 3 credit card debt. It's a credit union and credit card debt.
Okay. And how much is the loan to the credit union?
It's like about 9,000.
Okay. And are you having a hard time balancing both of these? Well, in actuality, all 4 of these. Is that what the issue is? That you're not able to pay them all at once?
I could pay them, but it's real hard for me financially. You know, I'd like to make it easier for me.
Okay. So I always say to start, if you're looking into trying to consolidate, because there are 2 types of consolidation. So hopefully I don't lose you guys. Please forgive me. We had a family emergency, so I had to travel. So I'm just heading back home. So if my system goes out, just someone like say something so I know you can't hear me clearly. So please forgive. But number one, the first thing that I would tell you is pay attention to your statement date, not your due date. I heard you say that you were new to the room. One of the things that causes us the biggest issue is not paying properly when it comes to our credit card. A lot of us focus on the due date, which is the latest possible time you can make the payment before a late fee is assessed. Okay. However, your statement date, which is the date that your statement closes, I call it the tattletale date. That is when the interest is applied and when your balance is sent over to the credit reporting agency. Now, without knowing what your scores are, I'm not quite sure if you are at a place where you could potentially get a consolidation loan. Normally, we're looking at like a 6, on the low end, maybe a 620. On the high end, you know, anything above a 680, you're golden. So what I would challenge you to do as you're doing the research to find out if consolidation is going to work for you is to switch how you're making your payments. so that way more money is going towards what you owe. Your credit score can then be affected in the positive way. And then you can definitely try and see if your credit union, because you already have a relationship with them, are willing to give you a consolidation loan. Because here's what happens. A lot of times we go to a third-party company that tries to consolidate the debts for us. And what they do is they wait for you, they tell you not to pay, and then once you get into charge-off status, they try to consolidate the loan for you. Guys, that's not something that I recommend, because while you're not making those payments, because they're waiting for you to get into the charge-off status, that is hurting your credit score month by month by month. So either take the initiative and call the credit card companies yourself and find out if they can lower your APR, find out if there are some other internal payment options that they can have that will not close the account, because closing the account could affect your payment history, and it could also affect your utilization, right?
Sorry.
So you don't want to have, so you don't want to have those two things
Daddy may be on the
impacted.
other side waiting for you.
I'm sorry, someone's speaking and we can hear you talking about daddy.
He's talking
Hello.
to you or something. I'm sorry.
Sue?
No problem,
Sorry.
my love. No problem. I just wanted to let you know. Okay, so as you're making your plan of attack, how you're making your credit card payments, make sure that you're looking at the statement date and not the due date. Pull your credit and see where your scores are, because ideally your internal bank will offer you some options that may be beneficial to you. And if you're going to try to consolidate on your own, call the creditors yourself and let them know, hey, I want to know, do we have an APR adjustment option that I can look into? Are there any balance transfer options that I would be approved for? Try to advocate on your behalf while you're trying to get your scores to where they need to be. If your scores are already good, then yes, you can definitely pull together what your total amount is that you owe for both your credit cards and the loan, and then try to apply for a loan that would pay off all of those, and then you're just paying one creditor directly.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes, it did make. Okay, now when you say the statement date, that's going to be way before the due date, correct? Like a lot of days, right?
It depends. It depends. But your statement date, let me be clear. Your statement date is the date that impacts your score, not your due date. So your due date is the latest possible day you can make the payment without the company assessing a fee to you, right? But the statement date is the date that they close your account. You basically close your, let's call it books for lack of better words. They close your books, and then they turn around and send it to the actual credit reporting agency and says, as of today, this is the balance that's on this card. So if, for instance, let's say you have one credit card that's $1,000, right? And you have $1,000. Well, you have a better option of when the statement date is about to close.
I can hear you now.
Cal, you're choppy.
You're breaking up badly.
You wait for the statement to close about.
Well, Cal, you're still choppy.
Sorry, hold on. Okay, just give me a second, guys. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get back on track, y'all. All right, I think I got 2 bars. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes, but start with the $1,000.
Okay, so if you have the $1,000 and your credit card limit is $1,000, what I would recommend you do, because remember, a credit card is a revolving account. So you get to pay it, use it, pay it again, use it again. So if you're wanting to increase your credit score quickly with minimal effort, I would tell you take that $1,000, pay the credit card before the statement date is about to close. Recommended time frame is 2 to 3 days before the statement is about to close. And then once the statement has closed, then you just use that card to go buy whatever it is that you're wanting to buy. So that way your utilization is low, because if you're wanting to be in the 700 club, your utilization needs to be at 20% or under if you're hitting all of the other requirements, right? So if you're trying to, for lack of better words, girl, I'm Caribbean, right? So my mother always talks about robbing pizza to pay Paul. But if you're wanting to hide the debt that you have, and be able to manage with the money you have coming in. Remember that the credit card is a revolving account. So as long as you're making that payment before the statement date is about to close, once it gets reported to the credit reporting agency that you have zero balance, 10%, 20%, that's going to help you rather than keeping it at 100% or more, right?
Yes.
Of you using the score. So yes, sometimes for some people, to answer your questions, for some people, their statement date may be well before the actual due date is. But if you've paid it by the statement date and you've paid all of it off, then when the due date comes, you owe nothing because your balance was zero, right? So
Yes.
if you're changing the way that you're paying, that's going to change how you're going to be affected when the due date does circle back around.
Right. Okay. Here's a now. Do I call the credit card and ask him when's the statement date? Is that correct?
If you have a statement, all you got to do is look on the statement. It'll either say open and close,
I don't
or
have a
it will
statement
say.
date. Yeah.
Well, if you do you not get your statements online?
I get him. I don't think I get him online. I don't know. You like I said, I don't know what I just pay him. I'm not a real good computer guy, so
Okay. So you need to. So what I'm going to recommend to everyone in this room, if you are not a good computer guy, you need to make sure that those statements are coming to you by the mail.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm telling you to make sure you have that is because, especially if for some of the people in the room that may decide to go through credit repair, you need to know what it's stating on those statements, and you need to be checking. And the reason why I say that is I personally, and I used to work for Bank of America, Chase, PNC, Wells Fargo. I worked for a bunch of them, right? And personally, I've experienced where they've charged me fees that weren't mine and weren't supposed to be charged to me. And the only reason why I knew that was because I read my statement. So don't just agree to everything blindly, because you want to make sure that you're being charged properly, because these banks do get fined for having those mishaps happen, whether it's on purpose or it's on accident. Again, the error is human, right? But we have to be able to advocate for ourselves. So if you don't use the computer, that's completely cool. But I will recommend that you call them up. If you're going to call them and ask them for the statement, make sure that you also tell them to start mailing your statements to you, right, so that you have the ability to look at it. Make sure that, because if, let's say, someone double charged you, you don't know, right? Because you're not looking at that statement. And that statement is what's going to be able to help you get out of debt. So you need to pay attention to what's on there. Great question, though.
To me, it would be a lot easier if I could just consolidate them all and just pay that one payment to the credit union. That would be my ideal my ideal situation in solving my problem there.
And correct? I totally understand that. However, I don't know what your credit score looks like to say that your bank would be able to give you that option, right? So we want to make sure that you're proactively doing all the things to make sure that when you go and ask for that money, you're in good standings to get it. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, okay, let's say that I own the thousands and I can't afford to pay off.
Okay, come on now. Wait.
Do I pay? Is it best to pay the largest amount that I can?
So what I will tell you is, if you're over the limit on any of your credit cards, you want to pay the minimum payment times 2 plus $4 if you are over the limit. If you are not,
I'm not over the limit on any of them. I just owe more, like about half of the maximum that I could use. I'm about halfway there. So what kind of a payment do you think I should make on that situation?
So again, I don't know what your budget is. You follow what I'm saying? So I can only give you the advice based on the fact that if you, again, we're talking about credit cards. So when it comes to your credit cards, you can take the cash that you have, put it on your credit cards, wait for your statement to close, and use that same credit card to live off of, right? If the credit card is giving you rewards, you can take your rewards and pay it. If you want a payment plan, then my recommendation to all of my clients is always to do the snowball method. You can either do the snowball method, which means you're paying whatever the smallest limit card is. So let's say you have one card that's $1,000, one that's $5,000, one that's $10,000, right? You would take the smallest limit, and that would be the one that you would basically dump all of your extra money into. And then you would pay the minimum on the other cards until that card is, the smallest card is paid off. And then you basically rinse and repeat moving forward. Or you can put most of the money on the card that has the highest APR. But again, because I don't know what your budget is, I can only give you methods, and you would have to look at what your situation is to figure out what should be the best plan of action for your lifestyle. Does that make sense?
Yes. Well, is there any way or someone who I can ask to get more detail on my situation?
Oh yeah, you can definitely you can get on a call with me if you want to be personal in order to dive in. Just send me a message and we'll be happy to go ahead and jump on a call so we can review.
Are you Megan
Okay.
P? Or who are you?
I'm Raquel May. I'm the co-host of the room as well.
Should I be talking to Megan or you?
It is completely up to you. You can reach out to Megan if you desire, or you can reach out to myself.
Does she know the same things that you know?
That is correct. She and I both do credit.
Okay, because I didn't know. Can I ask you one more question? I don't know if you can.
Absolutely.
Okay, I have a daughter. She's starting a trucking company.
Mm-hmm.
We're looking for funds for to help her get this business off the ground. And we went to the Small Business Development Center for Women, and we went to one in San Bernardino and one in Riverside, California. And those guys, they're not, and on one of Lesko's videos, he said to go there and they could help you, and there's a lot of money to give. And those guys, there's nothing. There's maybe 5-10 grand to work with over there. And I need a lot of money to get a couple of trucks and get things off the ground. And we're new to this stuff, so we need help. That's why we went to the Small Business Development Center. They're just, I don't know what they're up to, man, but they're not all that. Have any suggestions?
So that in your particular area, that would be a question that would be dedicated to Megan, because I would be specific. So I help clients with business funding, but I personalize in PG loans. So my questions will be geared to what does your credit score looks like? What kind of capital do you have? Have you set up your profile already for your business profile to work? But if you're looking for grants or non-PG funding, that would be a Megan question, and you can definitely hit Megan up so that she can see what grants might be available in your area that might be applicable in that particular business niche market.
Okay, what was your name again, ma'am?
Also, my name is Raquel. Also, if you go to the resource and PDF tab, sometimes there are resources that, from my knowledge, there are resources that are listed there as well that might be able to help you. But to give you a blanket answer without knowing what your credit score looks like, I can't really tell you where to go. Megan does have resources for grants and grants and things. Okay, Megan does have answers for grants and things of that nature that she would be able to get you. Just send them a ping to her, and then she'll be able to send you that.
Stuff. To this Mighty, whatever, I think it's Mighty, whatever this thing is. Anyway, I'm new to it. I don't know much, but how do I get a hold of Megan to kind of like have an in-depth conversation with her?
So you can send a message in the app, or if you just drop a message in the chat, I will make sure that Megan follows up with you as well.
Okay, how do I send a message in the chat? The chat that's here?
I'm so sorry. Yes, the Zoom that you're in right now, if you go into the Zoom, because I believe that you put a message in the chat saying that you needed to ask a question. Is that correct?
My daughter helped me do that.
Okay. If you just
do the I don't know how to do audio, video. I don't know anything. She got it and then she left. She doesn't like to help me.
Oh, I apologize for that. I am currently driving, so I don't have the accessibility to do a walkthrough. But since you already left a message there, I'll let Megan know to reach out to you. And if you go into and I'll also have her share the screen to show you where the resources are, so that you can see how to use the app a little bit better.
Okay, Rick, I'm gonna in the chat. I know how to leave a message. I'm gonna leave a message that this is Steve Subsider, and I'm going to see if you can help me contacting Megan. Okay.
Just put @Megan, or if you click the drop down, you can send her a direct message in the chat. So right now in the chat it says everyone. If you click the box, it'll give a drop down. You can select Megan's name, and that way you send her a private message.
Okay, you say that there's going to be a drop down on where it says chat right there.
It should say
see.
everyone, and then if you click where everyone is, it'll drop down and take you to Megan. You can search for Megan's name, or you can just put a message in the chat, and I'll remind her to circle back to support you for your
I
business
didn't know,
question.
I couldn't get that, so I'm just gonna leave a message in the chat where I left the question. Is that okay?
That is completely fine. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Raquel, man. I really appreciate it. You're saying things to me that making my brain click, but I'm not that good, man. So I need to talk more in depth.
No problem. We're here for you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Raquel, man. You're the best. I really appreciate it. God bless.
Raquel, I have a question.
Yes. I'm here. What's up?
Good evening. I heard you said that you're more familiar with Prince George's County. Is that correct?
No. I'm in Texas, so I'm more familiar in Texas, honey. Texas,
Okay.
Florida, New York. Those are my primary areas. But I do research for anyone that's anywhere else. But what questions did you have, my love?
Same thing as Grant, like I was looking for in particular. I was on the Zoom earlier, and a young lady told me to go to one website, which is I was on. I was searching on there, and I'm like, that it's like nitpicking, and then you just gotta hope you win type of thing. So I'm just looking like for a direct source.
For grants, okay, so Megan would be your ideal person for grants specifically. Go in the chat at Megan, tell her, like, so you can send her a private message. Let her know, when I say at her, sorry, hit the drop down, select her name, and then just send her a message for the grant that you applied, and that exactly what it is that you're looking for, so that when she comes back in the room, she can support accordingly.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay, my pleasure. Any other questions, guys?
I have a statement to make.
Go ahead. How can I help?
To Steve, Mick, and anyone else that's starting a business. SCORE, which is SCORE and Small Business Development, they will prepare you to understand what's required for business. I've used SCORE, and my mentor, he will go through and find everything for me where I could go. He can't apply it, but he will send you, here's this, here's that. And
yes, I love SCORE. SCORE is an amazing tool.
Yes, it is.
Did you say SCORE?
Yes, SCOR.
SCORE.com?
Or SCORE.
Isn't it org? It's .org, I believe.
Yeah.
So like about the SCORE.org?
Yes.
And they will say, find a mentor.
Okay.
Put what you're looking for, and they will contact you. Now, what city do you live in?
I'm in Moreno Valley, Riverside,
You can turn it on right there.
Southern California.
I turned it on.
And I use SCORE. I've used SBDC, but SCORE, they have a lot of retired people who are professional in certain industries. So you could choose the industry that's, when you go in and you say, I'm looking for blah, blah, blah.
Yep. And they will assign you someone that has that expertise. I did not. Now, my SCORE person does not do like grant funding, but they will help you with your business plan. I do know sometimes they will tell you where there's funding in your area. So I do think that's a great option for you to leverage as well.
Right.
Thank you.
Great input.
I mentioned it to him.
Hey, thank you so much, ma'am. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You guys are awesome. Okay, I heard someone say that they have a question. What question do you have, my love?
Yeah, I have a question. I know at one point, I can't remember exactly how it works, but if you like opt into something on like Experian or Equifax or what have you, it like takes away your option to dispute or something like that, or take away your option to there was like some service that if you subscribe to the service through the reporting agency, it like limits your rights to do certain things.
So the only time that your rights are limited when you are disputing your profile is not directly through the major credit reporting agencies. It's when you go
Okay.
through the services like Credit Karma, Credit Strong, and you dispute that way. You lose some of your rights when you're disputing through a
Okay.
third party service. But if you're using the Equifax, Experian, or TransUnion site to do your dispute, you are not losing any footing in that particular arena.
So using something
Specifically with them.
like Experian Boost, that's a direct Experian product or what have you, so it wouldn't limit any.
So I don't
Okay.
recommend using Experian. Well, let me back up. Depending on who you are, because I think that that's not a blanketed product, but
Mhm.
you can leverage Experian Boost. It is owned by Experian, so it's not necessarily considered a third party where you lose your rights in the same way that you lose it with Credit Karma or
Okay.
Credit Strong or Credit Set or so on and so forth, right?
Right.
So just to keep that in mind. Now, if you're going to dispute with the third party providers, what I recommend in disputing is like things like your address, your name, your date of birth. If those things are wrong, you can dispute through them with those particular things because you can still go ahead and advocate for yourself and still write letters to get those things off. But I never recommend disputing actual accounts through that
Okay.
third party vendor. Great question.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to make sure of that because I have a Chime account with the credit builder and they sent me information on how to access your FICO score and utilize Experian Boost because I pay all of my bills using my credit builder for the purpose of course, trying to build my credit. So I'm thinking if it starts to report those payments utilizing the Experience Boost program, that may give me some additional benefits. But I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't locking myself out of doing other things by utilizing that service. So thank you.
My pleasure. Also, something I want to piggyback on with what you stated is please bear in mind, guys, when you guys are using these second chance accounts, you should use it for a certain period because once you get established, if you are still using the chimes, the credit, these Klarna, the Zip, it can impact you when it's time for you to get funding through traditional methods such as the Chase, the Wells Fargo's, the Bank of America's. So as quickly as you can, once you get yourself at a footing, I would suggest either open up a secured card. If you cannot get an actual credit card with a company like a Citibank or Capital One or a Chase or whichever entity that you have with you, because a primary card through a major, I should say like a traditional funding financial institution looks a lot better on your credit report than having the Chimes, the Klarnas, those types of companies. So just keep that in mind because I personally know of clients who have been denied funding because they had an Affirm or they had a Klarna or they were using a Chime. So you want to use that to get your footing. But if you are at a good 620 or a 630, start trying to get traditional funding so that you can look more acceptable to traditional lenders as you decide to grow and grow. So just keep that in mind, guys, as you're pivoting.
Oh, thank you for that as well. I appreciate
Can I
it.
chime in real quick on that last one, what you just said?
My pleasure. Sure.
To add to a comment to her. Ironically, I used to do credit repair and I did it for about 7 years. And one great thing, advice I would give to you is almost like piggybacking. If there's somebody in your family who is responsible, that always pays their bill on time, that does not go a day without thinking about their bills, and it's just so gung-ho, 100%. And if they are willing to put you as an authorized user on one of their credit cards, that can drastically improve your credit score, at least from anywhere from 30 to 40, even 50 points over time. You don't have access to the card to say, listen, I don't want access to the card. Can you help me as a family member? Could you help me just add me as an authorized user? The moment that happens, 30 days later, your credit score pops up, goes up.
Thanks, Mick.
You're welcome.
I also want to point out if you're doing the piggybacking method, please, guys, remember that you want their utilization to be under 20%. You want their age to be more than 5 to 7 years. to
Bingo.
make sure that when you get added onto their report, if you have no credit, then it doesn't matter. If it has no credit, I don't care if they had the car for a year, that's going to help you. But if
Right.
you do have some kind of credit history, you want to make sure that you're getting 5 to 7 years of history and their utilization needs to be low. I'm telling you this because I had a client who wanted to piggyback. They did not listen to what I told them because I did provide them access to trade lines. And when they got on the card, their age dropped and they lost points. So with that being said,
Yes, thank you
we
for that.
decided a Q&A question. So we're going to start before we get started. I see your hands up. Give me 1 second. I want to ask the foundational questions to make sure that everyone kind of is on the same page. So does everyone know the heaviest weighted portion of the FICO score and what that percentage is? And you can't answer, Mr. I used to do credit repair. You ain't gonna answer.
Okay, I'm out.
No, I don't.
You better mute yourself. Okay. So I know that we have some repeat visitors. So for those of you guys that were in the room last week and the week before, what is the heaviest weighted portion of the FICO score, guys? And
That I
I'm
don't know.
driving, so please don't drop it in the chat because I'm driving. I cannot see.
Is it payment history?
Okay, and what is the percentage for payment history?
35%.
Wonderful. Do you know what the points that translates to?
No.
Okay, so payment history roughly translates. You did good now. 2 out of 3 ain't bad now, honey. Payment history translates to 165. I'm sorry, 192.5 points is your payment history roughly. So 35% of your overall score is calculated based on do you pay on time. So when I say the latest possible date that you can pay is that due date, I want us to be clear the difference between paying on time with the creditor versus the credit reporting agency. The creditor says you're due on the 1st, you are late on the 2nd, right? However, the credit reporting agency says you are not late until you are 30 days past due. So if you guys are in the season of robbing pizza to pay Paul, this group is supposed to help you get out of that. But I want you to keep that in mind. 35% is the heaviest weighted portion of the FICO score. What's the next one?
Utilization.
And what is the percentage of the utilization? Anyone?
165 points.
That's the points. What's the percentage? Do you remember? 30. Someone said it. 30%. You got it. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. Come on, I like this lightning round. Y'all are doing it. Okay. What's the next one?
Age.
I'm sorry. How many points was utilization? I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's 165. Okay. The next one is age. You got it. How much is age in points and percentage?
Percentage 15.
Okay. What's point? Anyone know?
82.5.
You got it. What's the last two? Give me the last two. I know y'all got it.
Credit mix and applying for credit.
Okay. And how much is the percentage for that?
10 and 10.
Okay. And what's that? What's the point?
Combined 55.
There we go. So for each one is 55 points, 10% each. Okay. So if you add that with the fact that your baseline number for you to actually, I call it a heartbeat in credit, is 300. You add all of those, that will get you to a 850 credit score. So if you guys are sitting here saying, hey, my score is not where it needs to be, those are the 5 buckets that calculate that wonderful number that says that you are credit worthy or you are not. A lot of people get it confused and think that, oh, I'm going to fix the number. If you are not meeting those 5 buckets, it don't matter what your number is, you will not be fundable. Okay. So we want to make sure that we're hitting all of those buckets appropriately as
You're
navigating.
dropping
I saw that someone had their. Does anyone have a question? Okay. Okay, is anyone did anyone
here.
else have an additional question while we're waiting for Megan
No,
to come back?
I'm
Okay,
back.
hey Megan.
I'm back. Sharon Seymour though
Awesome.
had her hand up the very first, and I totally skipped her, so it was my bad.
I missed
No
number
problem.
5.
Number 5, so it's credit mix and hard inquiries, or rather known as new credits. Those are both worth 10% each, which equates to 55 points apiece. Did anyone else have a question before I turn the mic over to Megan?
Oh yeah, quick question.
Yes, yes.
More like I kind of wanted you to confirm that for me. So between the statement date and the due date. So the way you explain it, I guess statement date come before the due date.
That is not correct in all situations. That's why
It's
you
not?
have to look at your, no, that's why you have
Oh,
to
okay.
look at your actual report, because some reports, the statement date comes after. So I have one credit card where my statement date is actually the 10th, but my due date is the 7th. So I pay my full amount of what my bill is on the 7th, because I know on the 10th, they're about to report my balance with just a couple of days after, right? So so in some cases, your statement date can come before. In some cases, it can come after. You have to pull your statement and check. And it will either say beginning and end, or it will say open and close.
Okay, because I actually was just checking my bank account right now. I'm just kind of like, trying to figure it out because I usually pay by the due date. That's why I kind of need to make some changes. So,
Right.
okay, so if it says statement ending 11/15/2024, and the due date is due date, due date, due date, due date, due date, due date. What the hell is that thing? Okay, so the due date is 12/12/2024.
So in your case, your statement closes after your due date. So that means if you paid the balance all the way down on the 12th, when the statement closed on the 15th, I would then turn around and use the card back again on like the 17th or the 18th. Now I have full access to the full limit. And my credit score is going to show that I owe $0 or I owe less than 50% or whatever the case may be, because your statement date is after your due date.
Well, actually, so okay, this is where I'm lost. So my statement ending is November 15, but
So
the
take out
due,
the month. I want us to take out the month. Your statement ends on the 15th. Your due date is on the 12th. So
yes.
your due date comes before your statement date. So you can pay your balance down to the lowest possible number on the due date, so that when the statement closes, it shows that you owe nothing or you owe less.
Gotcha.
Right? If it was in reverse and your statement closed on the 12th, but your due date was the 15th, I would make my payment on the 12th, just like I normally would, because again, I would not have to worry about paying on the 15th.
Gotcha. Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in
Yep.
your case, your statement date is after your due date, and the goal is to pay 2 to 3 days before the statement date closes. So you're in a good stance. Your due date is on the 12th. 3 days later, your statement is about to close. You're in a
Gotcha.
perfect spot. Okay.
Okay then. Yeah. Okay then. Thank you. And
Great
question: Are you in Dallas or Houston?
My office is in Houston, but
Okay.
I'm actually in Austin all the time. But
Okay. Because I
no
know you
worries.
mentioned something about helping with business funding and those kind of stuff. I do have my business plan ready. I kind of
Wonderful.
had to dissolve my LLC because I made the mistake and put my home address. So I end up getting a virtual address. So I'm waiting for it to dissolve so I
Okay.
can create
So
it
just for
again.
the record, you don't need to dissolve it. There is an IRS document that you can fill out to change your address. That wasn't necessary.
And
But
I,
since
I
yeah,
called them and they say there was no way for me to
okay,
do it.
there's a form that you can fill out to get that done. In fact,
Uh,
if anything, again, I'll try to make the notes so that I can go ahead and put it under the resources tab, but you didn't have to dissolve. You couldn't change your address with your business. You just have to notify the IRS. But sorry that they wasn't helpful, child. I'm sorry. But great question, guys. Great question. Here's what I wanted to say before I turn it over to Megan. And Megan, you are awesome. I appreciate you letting me ramble on thus far. What I want to tell you guys is I heard someone say that if anything you don't change, you choose. And I love the fact that you guys are coming in every single Sunday and you guys are making the choice to change where you are in order to be in a better position in the future. And you guys are doing amazing. So this week, it has been a lot better. You guys really participated with the foundation. And I really love and appreciate that you guys are applying pressure and asking questions. Implementation is what my desire is and what my goal is. I am an implementation coach for literally every single one of my credit repair clients because I seriously know that knowledge is not the power. It's the implementation of that knowledge that gives you the power that you need to get to where you need to go. So thank you guys for investing in yourself, not just hearing the information and not applying pressure, but you guys are literally doing it. So for those of you guys that filled out the survey and returned it back, we appreciate you because this is going to help us build out a program that's going to be effective and efficient based on what you guys are saying that you're needing in real time. So with that being said, any other questions before I drop the mic?
Yeah, what survey? Where can I get it though?
Okay. Megan, can you drop the survey again? You're amazing.
Yes, I sure will.
Okay.
Give me 1 second though, because I'm just finishing up a little bit with the presentation. So give me 1 second.
Of course,
Okay,
sure.
no problem. So the survey it's a money survey for us to understand where you are right now, what kind of support you need, because we're building out, this is week 1 of our 8-week course, so that we can be able to figure out in real time, what are people really looking for? What do they really need? So that we can make sure that we're coaching to success. So we're going to drop the survey in the chat. It was also in the resource tab under the PDFs. It was also located there. So if you guys are in the room, you can scroll down the left side of the bar on the main page, and it goes to resources and PDFs, and the form is there as well. But we're going to drop it in this class. If whoever fills it out, it will give us the ability to add more numbers to the engagement of what we have going on. Because last week we had 46 people in the room and we only got 11 documents back. So the more participation, the better it is for us to make sure we're giving you value, not just keeping y'all hostage on a Sunday. Okay.
Right.
So any other questions before we go? Let me see. I'm trying to see.
It's under Lewis Real Estate, maybe. I don't know. Not name.
Oh, my name? Oh, I'm sorry. My name is Neil Lewis. Louis.
Sorry.
Neil is Neil.
Okay. Did you have a question?
No. Oh, no. Actually,
Just
Raquel
ask a
did.
question.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Let me lower my hand. Sorry.
Sharon, go ahead.
All right, I'm all done, Megan. Thank you so much. I'm on mute.
Okay. Miss Sharon, do you still have a question?
I have a question, Megan.
Go ahead.
Okay, I have several questions.
Oh, okay.
Okay. My husband works with the federal government, and oftentimes he will be, let's say, unemployed.
Okay, hold on. I can barely hear you.
Let me scoot up closer to the mic.
Okay, there we go.
Let me see if I could increase here.
You got it? There you
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay. 1 second. Okay. Yeah, so oftentimes when he's finished with the project, because what he does is he goes around to all over the country. And he is what they call a site inspection auditor. So he goes there and he checks things out. And he writes a report, and he also supervises people.
Okay.
And he this past 5 months, he was out of work. And it caused some financial issues.
Okay.
And so with that, he did call the mortgage company, which I would not gonna say their name, but they are not somebody to do business with. They're very unprofessional. Anyway, someone had mentioned that there are places where we could transfer the note from the current mortgage company to another company, which we would like to do it with a credit union. And see if they would just accept it without doing a refi, or if the interest rate that he currently has is lower than what they have to offer.
Okay.
What is it called?
Wait, I'm sorry. So you're asking about a refi,
It's not.
No, what she's saying is, can she move her loan from who she's currently with to a new lender? And the answer to that question is no. Your lender would have to sell their book of business to someone else. The only way to move it from one entity to another entity is for you to physically refi. If your lender is not selling off their book of business, which some lenders do often sell off a segment of their files to other mortgage servicers, but you can't request to have it moved from one entity to another. The only way that quote unquote request can be done is you refinance them.
Okay, so the best thing would be to see if they are offering lower interest rate than what he currently has.
You would still have to do a refinance, right? Or unless you're asking for a modification to your current mortgage, that is an option that you can ask for modification. But if you're asking for a new servicer, which I remember you asked that last week, the new servicer, there are only two options. Either the original servicer is selling off their book of business, so they're selling you to a new servicer, then you would get the announcement, hey, you're moving and this is going to be your new mortgage servicer, or you would have to refinance. If you want to adjust what you have, then you can call that particular lender and see if they have options for you to modify your existing loan that you currently have.
Yeah, I think I'll do that because we've been with this credit union for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And credit unions are better than banks.
Absolutely.
With things.
And if you have equity in that property, that would actually help along with, what your scores are looking like. So definitely give it a try.
Yeah. Okay.
Great question.
I have another question. How can I get a business line of credit without someone or the institution not checking my personal credit?
Does your business entity have a credit standing by itself?
No, not yet. It's new.
So then more than likely you're going to have to PG the business. The only way that you're going to, at least from my knowledge, Megan, I don't know if you know anything else, but from my knowledge, the business would have to have credit that it has sustained on its own in order for it to get stuff in this current market. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen at all, but in this current market right now, things may change. You might have that option, but normally, unless you're doing like retail cards or you're doing net 30 accounts, those options would be there for you to get lines of credit with the net 30s without you personally guaranteeing the business portion. But if your business doesn't have its own credit backing, then they're going to ask for your information as well.
I've seen some fintech that's doing that.
Mm-hmm.
I see a couple of them, they are offering it with no credit check.
Mm-hmm.
No.
But what are the requirements? Because a lot of those fintechs, they need you to have a certain amount of money in the business in order for you to get qualified for a high limit. So when you're looking at those fintechs, you want to look at the entire scope. Is the APR going to be worth it? Because a lot of those fintech companies that are offering that, there's a certain amount of capital that you need to have in your business operating account in order for them to qualify you. So do you know any offhand that is not asking for guarantee and not asking for any capital to be in the business?
There are a couple of them I haven't really applied yet. I just wanted to get you all's advice with it.
Yeah. I would say find out before you go apply, find out what the requirements are. A lot of them will give you the requirements up front to let you know, because I know two offhand that are fintech companies, and the operating account needs to generate at least $5,000 a month in order for them to give you a non-personal guaranteed account, unless you're doing an accounts receivable one, where but all of that is still looking at what money is coming in the business if they're not looking at the credit score. Do you understand? Like, that's the trade-off. It's either the credit score or it's your operating fund.
I'll look into that.
Awesome.
What else? My sister is starting a doula nonprofit, and she's looking as to where she could get funding for it.
There's something called charity charge she could do, but if she just started her nonprofit, she needs to be doing grants and applying there too. But if she's looking for credit, charity charge is the best option for them.
Yeah, she's just starting. She has a regular job that she does quite well at, but she has a big heart, and she went through the loss of a child at birth, and it wasn't the baby, it was her body. So she's just a caring person in general. And she wants to be out there. It's called Doula Mansion. You can look it up on Instagram. She's on Instagram. And she wants to help people with autism, people with
okay,
pre and post delivery, and women in prison. They say that there's so much that's going on, and a lot of women don't understand why they're going through postpartum. And some of them commit suicide.
Right. Yeah, it's actually crazy. I actually deal with that with my birth mom buddies. I want to try and keep this on credit related stuff. So if we can talk about that, can you send her to the grant class on Thursday? Because I definitely would talk to her about that. You might be able to work. So because we have that would be awesome. But I want to keep this class that's related to the credit stuff. So we can do, if you want to send her to Thursday's class at 2 p.m. That's when I teach for grants, and it is, she actually is doing something that's very near mine, so my organization stuff, so.
Yeah, I'm not sure because she works crazy. Her schedule is crazy. She supervises internationally, so sometimes she's on the phone all day, depending on whether or not they have a deadline and things of that nature, but it's possible.
Yeah,
Okay.
just send her the link. That'd be great. I think that's awesome for you guys to team up. Any other questions, guys? All right, so we're gonna dive in. Go ahead, Megan. I'm gonna go back on mute. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're good. You're good. You're good. You're good. Oh my gosh. Okay. Wow. All right. I have problem children right now. All right. Okay, guys. So we're, as we've been saying, we're doing the CFPB Your Money, Your Goals books and like their lessons, right? We went through your guys' surveys, and of the ones we had, mind you, we didn't have them all. I just got a few more people's in right now. But we went through the surveys, and we figured out we were going to start, instead of going in order, we're just going to start with where people need the most help, and the surveys told us kind of where to start and where to begin. So choosing financial products and services was our number one thing that people had, the survey says people had an issue with, is actually knowing what products are for them, what products are helpful, hurtful, and ones that will help them, actually help them get over the hump instead of adding to the hump, So give me 1 second. I'm going to share my screen. Actually, you know what? I'm scared to share my screen. I don't want it to die on us. Okay. I'm going to risk it, and I'm going to give host to somebody else just in case though, so it doesn't shut down the whole meeting. Hold on. wait. Okay, I give Raquel co-host. All right. All right. So if it does shut me down, I'll be right back. I'm going to share screen now. Okie dokie. It says no. Well then, how rude. I'm not going to share my screen. So there. Okay. Well, we are going to do, okay. So we're going to go over like opening a checking account, savings accounts, and what exactly they're supposed to be used for, because I guess that is a question I never have gotten asked before until 2 days ago. Somebody asked me why do we have a savings account? And
Hold
I
on
guess
1 second, Megan. Don't forget to drop the link of where they can get the information for the module, because remember last week some people were asking where to get the info. So if you can drop that link in the chat so they can make sure they have it.
All right, well then we have to hold on real fast because I have to reopen I shut everything down. Hold on.
Oh, no problem.
I shut all my other windows because I was scared I was going to lose it. Got it. Okay. Well, this isn't a module for that. Yeah, we don't. Okay, this isn't the modules that we can jump for them. This is the teaching module. So I don't know where I'd find the. I'll drop the modules in the whatchamacallit, the resources and PDFs. Because this is not that. Companion guidance. Yeah, no. Okay. All right, so let me go back. Sorry, guys. Home loans. Track spending tracker. Oh, no, that's veterans. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna turn off the internet because I don't want to do that again. All right. So yeah, actually, okay. So anyways, I will drop that into the PDFs and resources. I don't know how we have to separate all of those things, the tools and stuff. So I just worked on my presentation. I can't share. So I was just asked recently what a savings account is, because I realized, I'm like, how does somebody not know what a savings account is? And it kind of occurred to me, people aren't used to saving anymore. That's why they don't know what a savings account is for and what you put in there. They don't, I didn't realize that until I was having a conversation with somebody, and they actually said, like, I just don't understand why we have to have this extra account open. And I was just like, oh, and I realized this is actually probably where the best place for us to start. It's what you guys ended up saying with your surveys, and it's pretty much what I came to that conclusion listening to this lady. It was just like, yep, it's financial services, here we are. So what we're going to go over the basics of why people would need a savings account, and what kind of savings accounts would be best for them. So we have a whole, I will put this in the chat actually. This, let me download that. Okay, and then the barriers to opening your checking account, because there's a lot of times you'll go to open up a checking account and you get denied for that. Does anybody ever have that experience? Because I have. Like, I had it when I first got out of prison, and I was trying to get a checking account, my first checking account after prison. They definitely told me no. So, and I didn't know why. I'd been gone for so long, I didn't have any credit. So it's like, it was just kind of one of those things, you know? And it was because I was in check systems and somebody had done fraud while I was away. But it is an issue that for like people in my situation have, and people across the country have really, just for making like simple mistakes or writing a check one time, 8 years later, you seem to still be in that system. You can't get out of it. So we're gonna go over how to address that, and pretty much that's what this course covers. We also go over other ways to get money, and how other people are using their financial services, like pawn shops and check cashing places, and the different stuff like that. What's the difference between credit unions and banks? So we are going to jump in. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put this in the chat for you guys. Here we go. Go in. Go in. Shit. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm putting it for you, I think. Hey, Sarah, can you put that in the chat for us? That module? Because it won't let me do it.
What's the name of the new event?
Not Siri, I said Sarah. What a mercy.
And which module, Megan?
He said in the chat.
It's module 8, I believe, that we're doing first. Is Megan still in the room?
Yeah, I'm in here. I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Okay.
put. Okay.
No problem. She was just asking which module. It's module 8, right? That's
Oh,
where we're starting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's module 8.
Okay. Did we get it in there? And there. Okay. It's not doing it. Whatever. Okay. I'm just gonna move on.
Playing from Birth Mom Buddies.
Okay. Well. All right, here we go. Share.
I think we lost Megan.
Oh, we lost her? Hang on, let me see.
Yeah.
She's not in the chat? Okay. All right, guys. We're going to give her a few minutes for her to come in. Any additional credit questions
I
while
have
she
one.
is coming back? Sure. What question do you have?
I was what I asked a question earlier about the credit boost thing. But I've noticed, I've looked on FICO.com last week, and they had like a free trial. And do you know if a lot of creditors are using, because they have like the FICO 8, the FICO 9? It's like, okay, so how do I know what should I be looking at? So is the most common practice
It depends on the niche, on the industry that you're looking at. So, for instance,
I see. Okay.
currently the auto market and the credit card market is looking at the FICO score 8. We are currently on the FICO 10T. We're actually moving into the FICO 11. Mortgages looks at 2, 4, and 5. So depending on what it is that you're looking for will depend on which version of the FICO score that institution is checking out. Great question.
Okay, thank you.
Based on your, what they call your NCIS, your industry code.
Well, no, this is something
That's
different.
for business.
So
I'm talking
that's
about
for business.
personal
She's
credit.
talking personal, right? So
Okay.
she's saying for her personal credit, which FICO score are they looking for? And the FICO score will differ depending on if she's looking to get a car versus if she's looking for a credit card versus if she's looking for a mortgage. So when you go to myfico.com and you pay for the, I think it's like the $39 package, it gives you they give you all 3 credit reporting agencies, plus they give you the auto, which is your auto insurance, they give you your mortgage, and they give you your credit card. So
Yeah,
you'll be
that's
able to see
crazy.
all
I didn't
your
even know
scores and
there
all
was
of
a FICO for insurance
that. There
to
is.
determine
And
your rate.
actually, not just for the main credit reporting agency, but you also have one for the secondary agency that holds your information as well. So there's upwards of 27 different credit reporting agencies that all have a score that, depending on what market it is that they pull from, will depend on what your numbers are. And that's why sometimes people are like, well, why is my numbers this way? We have to keep in mind that your numbers are generated when it's pulled with the information that's available at that time, which is why it's important to pay attention to the statement date and not the due date. Full circle.
Oh, also I hear that you can opt out. What is your opinion on that?
I don't see the necessity of opting out unless 2 reasons. Number one, if you are doing a freeze because there's identity theft, or number 2, if you do not want any solicitation of business. You can choose to opt out so that you don't get any credit card offers, your information doesn't get sold, things of that nature. But please understand that the credit reporting agency is a business, right? So your information, your addresses, that's why it's important to clean up the addresses that are on file, your addresses that are there, your different names, all of that is being sold to realtors, that's sold to mortgage companies, so that they can solicit your business. So it depends on what you want. If you're in the market and you want to get credit card offers, then stay opt-in. I don't recommend opting out. But if you're a person that's like, I don't want any offers, I don't want to be contacted, you can choose to opt out. And also, if you have faced identity theft in the past, that's also an option, an opportunity for you to leverage.
Yeah, because I know I had some educational loans which were paid off years ago, and I'm still getting questions saying that they found me, and do I want to pay it out? But I hear LexisNexis will have information on you from when you were like 16 years old.
LexisNexis has all your information. They know who you're married to. They have your driving record. They have your arrest record. They also have an employment record as well there. So yes, you have your information there, but that's something separate and apart from opt-in, opt-out. So I don't want to get the 2 things confused, right? LexisNexis is another reporting agency that has your information. I call them Big Brother in the Sky because they hold a lot more of your information than some of the other secondary agencies do.
Yeah, I want to opt out.
Okay, then just go to optoutscreen.com and you can go ahead and fill it out and opt out so you don't get any solicitation. You can also put yourself on the do not contact registry so that that's an option so no one can call to solicit your business as well.
Okay,
Awesome.
I'll do that because I hear you could get a letter and you can opt out and you hold on to it. Once you go in and you clean up everything, then you can elect to opt back in.
whether you clean everything or not, you can choose to opt out or opt in. So I want to make sure that I'm being, that it's clear. One thing doesn't necessarily have to go with the other. You can choose to opt out or you can choose to stay opt in. You can still clean up your report. If you do not want any solicitation, then you are more than welcome to go ahead and opt out.
Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
Yeah, recall, this is Stephanie. I
Okay.
sent my creditor a pay for delete.
Mm-hmm.
And of course I put the amount that was less than the amount that was owed.
Oh, okay. Smart girl, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
But they didn't get back to me. So like, what do you do now when
Send
they
another
don't
request.
don't respond? Just send another
Call
one?
them. Yeah, you can send another one, get them on the phone. Yeah, get them on the phone and just say, hey, this is my situation. This is what I have to offer. Can you guys accept this and delete? And then if they say yes over the phone, be like, cool, I'll pay it. Can you please send me an email confirmation or fax to this particular number? Once I get that, I'll make the payment.
Okay. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I wanted to go to Pepperdine University to work on my master's degree. And when I took the actual drive, it was not something I wanted to do. So I left before the last day to drop the class. And they're still trying to tell me that because I was there at one time, they still want to charge me the total fee for the course. And I just kind of ignored them. But I didn't sign any document with them. They said they didn't care. They didn't care. And they're still trying to chase me. But that's been more than 7 years. What is the I can't remember, whatever the credit in terms of when you can drop it or they're supposed to drop it?
So that's a loaded question. So hang on one second. That's a loaded question. So let me back up. Number one, if you don't have a contract, how can they come after you for anything if you did not sign any documentation? So I would push back to ask them for proof of documentation that stated that you agreed to do business with them for them to even try to solicit, because how do you owe them something if there was nothing signed? That's number one. Number two, every state has a different collectability window. So I want to make sure that we're clear. There's a difference between how long can I go after you for this debt legally in court versus how long can I go after you with this debt that's owed and show it on your credit report, or how long I can go after you, period. If you owe me, I can go after you for the rest of my life if I want to. However, every state is different as to how long they can take you to court. If there's no contract, you can't take me to court, right? So the court thing is out the window. However, if they're saying that you owe a debt, you can send them what's known as a validation or a proof that you owe them this debt. What's the payment history? Where's the contract? What did I sign? What was the agreement that said that you were going to do this and I was going to do that, right? So you would have to Google your state to find out what your state requirements is. I'm in the state of Texas. So normally it can stay on your credit report for 7 years. Kentucky is 15. So let's be clear, every state is different, right? But the collectability window in my state is 3 years. So after 3 years, you can't take me to court. So because of the fact that you have different things in play, those things are coming secondary to the fact that, number one, you don't have a legal binding contract. So how can I come after you for something that I don't legally have rights to? Based on what you're telling me, there was no document signed. Therefore, my letter that I would write to them is, please provide proof of what I owed you and what the terms of agreements were. Because if there's no contract, there is no debt.
Okay. I'll do that.
Awesome. Any other questions, guys?
Yes, hi.
Hi, hello.
Hey, last time I got a collection problem, then I send my document to Megan P.
I'm sorry, you said last time you had a collection problem and what happened?
Yeah, I explained to Megan and she told me to send my document to her. She provided me the email. Then I send the document to her, the last document about the collection.
Okay, and what question do you have about that?
It was
Megan's not in the room right now, so I don't know if she received the document or not. You can send her a direct message within the app so that you can ask her to circle back and answer the question for the document you sent her.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, my pleasure. I apologize. She's having a hard time coming back in the room. I'm gonna give it about another 5 to 10 minutes. If she doesn't come back, I'll go ahead and wrap up with you guys.
All right.
Any other questions, guys? Oh,
Now, if you find, on your credit score, there is, I think it's called a universal credit reporting, where you can get, a copy of your credit report monthly for free with all credit agencies. Do you know anything about that?
No, ma'am. I'm sorry, I don't. I know about annualcreditreport.com. The only option that I've ever heard that you can get your credit report for free multiple times is if you apply for something. Hold on, babe. Babe, can you put Khalil's address into your phone? Because my phone is doing that weird thing again. Thanks, babe. Sorry guys. So if you get declined for funding or for get declined for a card or whatever the case may be, I've heard that, that's legal grounds for you to request for an additional copy of your credit report. But if you know of the site, I would say check it out and see if it's reputable, see if it has, if it looks functionable. But I don't know of anyone that gives it to you for free every single month, except for I know that banks have been offering that option, and a couple, of course, credit monitoring options that are out there.
Oh, Raquel, can I interrupt for a moment? Right now, annual credit report is allowing you to request your credit report on a weekly basis. I know they were doing that during COVID and then they extended it.
Okay, because I did know about it during COVID. I haven't gone back. I know my sister used it and she said that she had to go back in 7 days, so possibly. But she was talking about another place. So I know about annualcreditreport.com, but I don't know of any other third-party service. Were you talking about another third-party service, Ms. Sharon?
No, same one where you can go.
Annual credit report?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you can request it every week.
And I just want to say that you don't get your score. Right. You don't get your score, but you do get the report. So if you guys want to do that, you can log in and get the information. Thank you so much. Oh, what is my phone just dying off? I said you don't get the score, you only get the report. So if you guys are wanting the report, by all means, my concern is, what are you getting the report every 7 days for? I guess would be my question. Are you doing something? Because if you are disputing your profile, by law, you're supposed to allow 30 days for the credit reporting agencies to dispute and review your file. So I don't necessarily know what would be the necessity of pulling the report every 7 days. But yes, that option is through annualcreditreport.com. Thank you for that update, because I haven't been there. Any other questions, guys?
So I'm assuming, since Megan kind of dropped off, I know last week we were supposed to review
your credit report,
and personal information and how to go about getting that stuff done. So I'm assuming we're going to table that for the time being.
So since Megan is not here, and did you do it? Did you already pull your report? You looked at your personal information?
Yes.
Was there anything that was wrong on it?
Yeah, I've got about 16 different spellings of my name.
Yes, Lord. Talk about it.
And
different addresses?
Addresses that I lived at 20 years ago. So yeah, quite a bit.
Okay, so I did drop in the chat my personal information letter that I send out for my clients on the first day that they sign up with me, on the 15th day, and then every 30 days thereafter. If you guys did not get that letter, I will go ahead and drop the link in. Oh, where am I going? I will drop the link in the resource page.
Yeah, I didn't see anything in the chat.
And no, I put it in the chat. It was 2 Sundays ago.
Oh, okay. I
So,
wasn't
so
on
if you
there.
weren't here,
Okay.
don't worry about it, chat. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna
Okay.
make sure it gets under PDF. So I will create a PDF. Go ahead and it's gonna be a Google Drive. You're going to go to the files. You're going to hit make copy because I'm not. I don't give access to. You guys have access to view it. I don't give access to edit it. Okay, because that is my hard form that I give to my mentees that I coach in the credit repair industry as well. So I have to keep that particular version clean. But I will go ahead and drop it in the resource, and as a matter of fact, I'll just make it into a PDF and drop it into the resource page so you guys will be able to go ahead and leverage that document. What you're going to do is the document already cites the actual codes that are a part of the FCRA that states that you cannot be ignored, it cannot not be responded to, and it gives you the space for you to put your name, your addresses, your employers, because your employers do not have to be on your credit report at all. The only reason why the employers are on the credit report is because when you apply for funding, you guys fill out who your employers are, right? So you can request to have all of that removed. I want to be clear that you're requesting. Sometimes you will get it removed right away, but that particular letter I send out every single month for my clients if the names are not updated or if the addresses are not removed. So you guys will be able to get that letter and actually send it out. And then once you guys have sent it out, we're going to move on to the next phase of actually disputing profiles. So I'm so excited that you did it. So you saw addresses, you saw names. Did you see multiple employers as well?
Yes.
No, because I've worked at the same place for 15 years. So
wonderful. Now, pay attention, guys. TransUnion is one of the companies that does have phone numbers. So if there are multiple outdated phone numbers in there, guys, go ahead and put it on that letter as well. Put all the phone numbers that are no longer yours so that stuff can come off. Because remember, when you guys go and apply for certain things, sometimes it'll actually challenge questions and it'll ask you like, which number looks familiar? And I'm like, the only phone number I remember from back in the day was when I lived with my mom and my very first cell phone number. Other than that, I do not remember any numbers besides the one I have now. So you want to make sure you clean up your file as much as possible as you're going through. So I definitely love that. Did anyone else pull their credit report and saw multiple things on there?
Yes.
I did.
Awesome. Okay, you guys highlighted those, right?
Yes.
Awesome. So I am going to drop the letter. So I have to wait for the class to end. So when I get home tonight, I will go ahead and drop it under the resource and PDF tab. And then if anyone who cannot find that tab, when you come to class next Sunday, I will make sure to have it ready because I'll actually be stationary. So thank you guys for dealing with all of the technical issues on tonight. Any other questions?
Do you suggest that the class is, do you suggest that we use the letter versus just going online and doing the dispute?
I say do both because I do both.
Oh, do both.
Clients. Yeah, I do both for my clients because you have to remember, okay, so the credit reporting agencies have 3 layers of defense is what I like to call it, right? So you have the online tool, of course, but internally they have this system called eOscar. And a lot of times the information that you're sending through goes through eOscar and it doesn't even get to a person, right? The 3rd layer is a person. So for me, I like to attack as many areas as I possibly can. I would recommend if you can dispute your personal information online, 1000% do that. I just do not recommend disputing accounts online unless it's directly through Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion.
And then a question, and as far as sending those letters, so let's say you disputed online and you send the letter. So would you, so just for the sake of clarity, let's just say you're disputing your personal information.
Right.
Would you So let's say it's got wrong names. I don't want my employer on there. It's got phone number. Would you address all of those within each one letter, or would you say, okay, would you send a letter
The
for
personal
just your
information
name?
is all of the information. So your personal
Okay.
information is that full box that has your name, your address, your date of birth, your social, your employer. All
Because
of that
that's
is
a
your personal
section
information.
in and of itself.
Correct. That is before you
Okay.
even get to the actual trade lines that are listed on your profile. So
Okay.
that letter is covering all of that information in one letter.
Okay, and I've heard from different sources, if you do send it via mail, that it's recommended that you send it certified mail, so then you have a
I
paper
never
trail.
send any of my stuff certified mail.
You don't?
And if I do send things, no, ma'am. And when I did, I personally tested it. And when I did send stuff certified mail, I only send out round 3 of my disputes. I never sent out the first one. So that was just my personal method. But again, everyone's different.
Gotcha, because that could be expensive depending on what you got going on. Right.
Chat, come on, somebody.
Right. Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
My pleasure. Any other questions, guys?
Well, Lynn Slita was before me.
Okay. Lynn, I'm sorry. Thank you guys for being so team oriented. I appreciate it.
Hi, how you pronounce your name? Oh gosh.
It's Raquel. No worries.
Raquel. Okay. I have a question about that letter you're talking about. What the letter look like? I'm sorry.
Well, the letter is going to be in the chat, so you'll be able to visibly see. Not in the chat. The letter will be under the resources tab, so you'll be able to see the letter, and you'll be able to print it and fill out what you need to. So it has the information that you have to put the actual credit reporting agency's name on there, and then you put your multiple names. If you have more than one name showing up on your credit report, you're going to put your addresses. You can put your employers, and then if you want to add a section for telephone numbers, you can do that as well.
What if I'm not employers?
I'm sorry?
I said, what if I'm not employers?
If you don't have any employers showing up on your credit report, then you just leave that section blank.
Okay, and now what gonna get that? You're gonna send it to an home address or
So
on a
it's going to be under the resource and PDF tab after today's class.
On my Mari network?
Yes, if you go to the resource and PDF section, you'll be able to find the letters there, and it will be with today's class.
Okay.
Okay, great question.
Thank you.
My pleasure. I heard someone else had another question.
Yeah, that was me. There's a couple of things that you say that it's kind of contradictory with what Megan has taught before you showed up. And among them are don't ever cite the law that applies to what you're disputing. For example, your letter that we're discussing that people fill out for each credit agent. It starts with citing the codes that they have to do this, that, and the other thing. Megan says they already know all of this, and you're better off just not even mentioning it. For one thing, if they violate it, then you come back 30 days later and say, well, you didn't do it, and they have to take it off. They already know what the law is, so I'm just wondering why that's there. The other thing is she says that you should not dispute anything online or by email because you'll probably be disputing one part of something that that if they deal with it online, then they don't have to deal with it again, even if it didn't. Whereas if you did it by mail, then you could decimate it, you could pick it apart. But if you do it by email or online, then if they address it at all and then they come to the conclusion that they don't like what you said or your way, you can't go back and say, no, you misunderstood or whatever. It's done. That issue is done.
So 1 second, Roger. I want to answer what you're saying, but my battery is at 4%. So I want to make sure my phone doesn't hang up on you. So first thing is there are multiple methods that you can utilize to get the same result. My method is different than what Megan may have done. So I can only talk about how I particularly dispute for my clients. And if you guys want to see the results, you can definitely check out any of my social media pages. I actually show proof of how I dispute. Now,
Well, I don't care really.
No, one
It's
second,
just that it would be
Roger.
nice if it agreed with whatever Megan's saying, so that
I
you're both
understand,
saying the
but
same thing.
one second, Roger. I want to make sure that I address what you're saying before my phone died. So 1 second. So the
Okay.
first thing is the law that I'm citing has nothing to do with a past due or a delinquent account. The law that I'm citing in there is stating that you could not ignore my request. The reason that I put that in there is because I have found that it actually gets a little bit more results for my clients when I'm tackling the personal information section based on what I've been doing over the last 15 years. So for me, that has been successful when I've been doing this. That's number one. Number two, the online disputes. I'm specifically stating that if you are disputing your personal information, it is safe to do your personal information if you are doing like a third party vendor. However, when I dispute my client's profile, I upload, I fax, and I mail. Well, right now the faxes are down. So right now I upload and I mail my client's dispute. It is effective and efficient with getting results because it's more aggressive when you're doing. So I don't do an either or, I do both. So I'm still mailing my disputes out. And I'm also leveraging the fact that Experian and Equifax allows me to upload those same dispute letters to go ahead and ask for the removal of those particular accounts. I'm not in breach of any contract because I'm doing it directly when it comes to disputing the account, not talking about the personal information. When it comes to disputing the account, I can upload the actual documents that I'm already going to be mailing to them so that they have accessibility to it. I am not disputing electronically on a third party site any account that my client has. So that's where the distinction is. I'm in agreement with Megan that when it comes to disputing accounts, you do not dispute the accounts online. What I'm stating is there is a tool that you can actually have your dispute letters ready, and you can actually log online to the actual Experian, Equifax, and sometimes TransUnion works, and you can upload your actual dispute letters with all of the information on it. I personally dispute using the Metro 2 coding as well as the laws to leverage. There are multiple ways that you can.
I'm losing you. I think you're out of battery. I also tried to call Megan and didn't get an answer, and I sent her a text. Still haven't gotten an answer, so I was hoping that we would have some news from her, but we don't.
Hi, Roger. I'm
Hey,
just
E.
mentioning, this is E. The classes, we're already a little bit over time, so I guess I would just like to welcome everyone back on next Sunday. And you guys can also come back on Thursday. Roger, if you have a specific time for Thursday, or Sarah, if you have a time for Thursday, you can come back on Thursday for grants, or Wednesday at Megan's other class, personal class.
As usual. Thank you.
And
Thank you, Sarah.
what class does Megan have on Wednesday?
No, Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday. Okay.
She has
Okay.
one on a different site on Wednesday.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's
Thank
not
you.
5 o'clock on my side.
Well, have a good night, everyone. Enjoy your week.
All right, good night, everyone.
Night.
Thank you. Good night. Have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.